So y'all gotta bear with me because I'm fighting off a cold and I got the itis. So
Oh no!
I'll be struggling this recording.
I got
But
I got my first caffeine of the day right now, and I just ate ice cream, so I think I'll try to slow down.
it's all right. I might siphon off some of your energy.
All right.
But so are there any movies or movie tropes you just knew you didn't like, but eventually like you changed your mind on? Like you in the beginning, like you were like, I hate this movie or I hate this thing in movies. And now you're like, you know what? It's not so bad.
That's
Or
such a
you love
loaded
it.
question.
I've warmed up to enemies to lovers.
I was just about to say the same fucking
I've
thing,
warmed
dude.
up to it because, like,
Did
there
y'all
are
used to be
times when it
enemies?
is.
Oh my. Ooh, this has just got interesting.
We both came around to each other.
Yo, sir, you're not
Hey.
supposed to tell him that.
But it's heartwarming sometimes, and if it's written well, it is kind of like you can see the one character like, what am I doing? I'm an asshole.
Yeah,
This
caveat:
person's-
is it written well?
Yeah, like this person's a pretty good person, has been nice to me. I should extend some sort of kindness. The other person is still like, what the fuck you trying to do? Oh, you being like nice, shit.
But then there's always something in the background that kind of upsets how they're trying to communicate with one another, and then they have to deal with that and get over it. And then it can be fine to watch.
You peed in my cornflakes. No, I didn't. Your roommate peed in your cornflakes. Oh, shit. I love you. Me too.
Say the end. Writer's strike over.
Karreem?
Now, don't judge me.
Oh.
I don't quite know what movie tropes are holistically.
Okay. So a lot of time people use them in like a negative, like has like a negative connotation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It's just something that happens a lot in movies, or not, or it's not in all movies, but like think about like anime tropes. The tropes define the genre. Like
Isekai.
in mecha, isekai. You know, they gotta get hit by a truck to get reborn in another
Truck-kun,
thing.
no.
Truck-kun. Mecha anime, like it's always a boy wants to get into the robot to save it, and then you have the opposite which is a deconstruction where it flips the tropes. So like Neon Genesis would be like Shinji doesn't want to get in the robot to save the world. Madoka Magica, it flips the magical girl tropes where instead of everything being all happy and bubbly, like shit is scary and depressing. You see, like stuff like that. So like a romantic movie trope is they always have to break up before they get back together, going off of what they were talking about.
I'm breaking up with you, Tim.
Now that is annoying. But you said ones that we did not like, but we kind of
that you used to really hate, and then you just came around to. It doesn't have to be a trope. It could be a specific movie.
I guess unlimited ammo in movies.
Don't.
You could.
I'm sorry. You said don't judge. Don't judge.
Tim, you can't. You just asked him.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm not judging.
It used to get. Wait, you did judge. It used to get me when, because I'm that person when like there's like a lot of shooting in movies. I'm looking for like reloads or
You're counting the bullets.
I'm not counting.
1, 2, 3. He didn't reload.
Eventually, I'm expecting a reload. Just for
That
a little bit of
motherfucker
reload.
shot
Okay.
11 bullets.
And
that gun only holds
that
9.
used to always like perplex
I
me.
hate
like,
John Wick.
How hard is it to put that in a movie? Just reload. Just put a fake clip in. I don't care. But
I think that's fair.
It's not a big deal to me. I don't care. It's I understand.
Usually when it happens, like it used to be such a thing that now when it happens, they're doing it on purpose. Like they're leaning into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like John Wick throws like a clip against a guy's head, and right as he spends the last ammo, he drops the previous clip and then catches it as it reflects off that other dude's head.
See, but that's one thing I love about the John Wick movies because he reloads. You see the reload.
He does, but there's an intent behind it. He had to distract that one guy with the clip, so he could empty a clip.
And that's fine. That's fine. But if you have a 8 bullet pistol or whatever those little old fashioned.
See, you don't even know when you're out here counting bullets.
I don't know the name.
I'm sorry.
If you have an old timey revolver,
it's old timey revolver.
You got an 8 bullet revolver, but you're shooting 25, 30 times.
You got to pack it in.
I'm like this.
He didn't pack it in.
You gotta ask yourself: does my old timey revolver hold 6 bullets
This
or
is
7?
funny. Movies with muskets. I always get weak when I see them reloading the gun because I was like, it's been 6 minutes. This is every bullet is missing this dude while he's sitting there to get time reload. This is nobody is looking at him. All right, no, he reloaded. Get him. No, you're just good. Okay, we'll wait.
Musket drive-bys.
Good. Take your time.
Told you I fucking hate this neighborhood, dude.
Bren, do you have one?
I'm on the same boat as Tim, and partially on the same boat as Karreem, because I used to be like a real stickler about just certain details and be like, oh well, what the fuck? Like, I may not know enough about guns, but I know he didn't have like a banana clip attached to that Magnum or something, you know. But I've just kind of gone back into watching movies and just accepting them for what they are and not what they could be, I guess. So I think that makes the whole enemies to lovers thing a little, it's like, oh, that's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
You know, was it the whole like there's only 30 different storylines in all the storytelling, so it's going to be
some degree
one of those. Yeah. I'm probably terribly misphrasing that, but
no, you're. I mean, the number might be off, but it's yeah.
You're gonna get one of those.
Yeah.
So if you're not okay with those, then there might be just
I don't know what to tell you.
Something wrong with you in stories.
Yeah, if you're going to be a movie person, you just got to learn to accept that and then look at it differently. Like, okay, well, what do they do with this specific, you know?
That really helps with watching this week's movie, because I remember watching it the first time and being like, "Well, what the fuck?" Because like the last,
don't spoil it just yet.
Yeah, no, totally. Just the last half really had me wondering, like, is this how it was supposed to be? Like, am I not watching it correctly? But we'll get more into that.
Yeah. So, now, enemies lovers still kind of, I'm not that into rom-coms. It's not my thing.
It happens in more things than rom-coms.
I only really. What else?
Yeah, sometimes buddy action comedies, Hidden Strike. Hey, look at that.
Hey, you missed the part where they got married? Like, isn't the outtakes? Like,
that movie.
Anyway, I'll get into it more as we start to talk, but I used to really hate time travel in movies because they never got it right. I felt
okay.
And so what happened was Interstellar and something else that I'm drawing. I think maybe it was maybe three things. One was Interstellar for sure, and another one was Days of Future Past. And they did it in such a way that not only did I like the movies, well, Interstellar's my favorite movie, but that I enjoy the movies, but also like it made me look up time travel more and like I learned more about like the theories and shit. And I was like, they weren't always fucking up. I just didn't know shit. Look at that. And now like I really enjoy time travel ones. And like one of like the time travel movies that like a lot of people praised early on was this one called Primer. And I hated it because I thought I was smarter than the movie. And eventually after all this happened, I went back and saw Primer again and I was like, this is a really good movie and I'm just a piece of shit. Like I'm just an idiot. Like, so that really helped me dial it back. And one, there's different types of like time travel theories a movie could subscribe to. Two, it's not that fucking serious anyway. The other one was Looper, where they literally make the joke like it was like, how do you do it? It's like it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It just works, and we're just gonna roll with it. And like that hit me in the way I was like, you know what? Like you're talking to me. Thank you, Ryan Johnson. I got you. Yeah. So instead of getting really fucking mad,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right. So like I had that moment with Looper where I was like, okay, he's talking directly to me. But then when he did Last Jedi, he was talking directly to a lot of Star Wars fans and they got big mad and they still ain't want to hear it. So but every once in a while, like something like that happens. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I need to lighten up. So I hated this movie when I first saw it. Like and everybody seemed
Hate
to
it.
like it. Yeah, hated
Not a
it.
10.
I'm gonna explain more in a little bit, but it went into one of those things like where here's a trope in a movie I really hate, and I did not like it. And like now in retrospect, looking back, I had to think about it. Like back then in 2010, we'd go to the movies on Saturdays. I'd wake up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock on Saturdays, work, and then we'd go out to dinner and then a movie. So I'd be like dumb tired in movies. I think my brain just wasn't firing on all cylinders. And then today I watched it 2 times. So now I know for a fact that I actually dozed the fuck off in the middle of it the first
Bro.
time. And then I did the first rewatch this morning. And on the third time I saw it, I was like, oh, I missed a chunk 2 times.
Damn.
So I really wasn't being as fair as I could to the movie.
Okay.
So anyway,
Tifron watching it. Is this the same movie? What is this? Director's cut? What's happening?
on that note, thank you for joining us today. If this is your first time with us, we're the secret group of brown kids. Who are the secret group of brown kids? Well, it's a secret, but you might be able to find us moonlighting as goddamn U.S. Marshals on an island far off the coast of Boston in the Atlantic Ocean, in the middle of a hurricane, because that's what late-stage capitalism has brought us to, just to try and afford a house in this economy. Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, you guys still expect to get houses?
My name is
A house
Tiff,
by a lake,
your host. Oh no. My name is Tiff, your host on this podcast where I make my friends watch movies and talk about their feelings. And on the panel today, assures you everything about your ex-boyfriend is whack, but he's tight as fuck. Tim?
He doesn't even smile.
I'm wound pretty tight. I'll be fair.
Says the Numa Numa song is still top 40 in his heart. Ren.
I haven't had to think about that in at least 10 years. Thank you.
And sings on top of coffee tables without falling. Karreem.
It's a talent.
Good for you. I'm happy. And the movie today is Shutter Island. 2010's Shutter Island. And oh yeah, this is part 2 of 3 of our Scorsese x DiCaprio miniseries.
Shutter Island? I barely know her.
Yeah, real quick, the plot. World War II soldier turned U.S. Marshal Teddy Daniels investigates the disappearance of a patient from a hospital for the criminally insane.
Oh!
But his efforts are compromised by his troubling visions and also by a mysterious doctor. So last week we did The Aviator. Check that out if you haven't. And we had way too much fun with the transatlantic accent that they did in the movie.
Little much. Yeah, I'd say. I agree.
This time, yet another DiCaprio movie set in Boston. I'm gonna try not to do a Boston accent.
He didn't try that much either.
He
No, it was decent enough.
It wasn't full on. I forgot what his character's name in Departed. It wasn't the Departed level.
Yeah,
but he definitely hit some notes here and there. I'm a goddamn U.S. Marshal.
Jesus.
Okay, was it better than Denzel and Quinn?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Look,
Granted, that bar is so low. It's like
yeah.
on the ground.
I mean, it wasn't that bad compared to Robert Townsend.
Trip over that bar while
Robert Townsend was killing
Robert
it.
Townsend was.
And I mean, not in a good way at all.
Oh man! Shout out the Mighty Quinn episode. Go watch that.
Cultural touchstone.
So this had a theatrical release. At the moment, you can catch it on Paramount Plus or Showtime, or they're one and the same if you have the right package. Apparently,
It's weird.
Oh, that's streaming. Sorry, that's streaming on Paramount Plus or Showtime.
I'm dying over here because I keep looking at the notes. It says Scorsese x DiCaprio, and I'm like, that's just it should just be plastered on a white shirt in big block letters. And you could just sell it for $75. It's just a T-shirt. You sell it for $75. Scorsese x DiCaprio.
Hey,
you gotta
buy it.
You gotta sport it.
Howard Hughes would buy it.
It's the drip. It is the drip.
He would buy it, wear it with those white tennis shoes.
Yes.
But yes, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, as we've said, Mark Ruffalo, Ben Kingsley, Michelle Williams, who I always confuse with Carey Mulligan. I had to remember, because 2010, DiCaprio did this with Michelle Williams. In 2013, he did Great Gatsby with Carey Mulligan. And once again, you put two white women in front of me, I'm going to confuse them. Like, anyway, Max von Sydow and Emily Mortimer. And it was a novel written by Dennis Lehane. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Close enough.
And I'm definitely about to mess up the lady who wrote the screenplay.
Leta
Kalogridis.
All right, if y'all fucked it up, not me. And the budget was $80 million.
$80 million?
Yeah.
This should have been his magnum opus. Like,
I mean,
that's so much money.
It was the highest opening for could have been
special effects.
So all the lighting budget. Because
it was definitely like the actors' budget and the special effects and the director budget and all that. Because I'm sure between DiCaprio and Scorsese, it was probably $35 million right there. But yeah, domestic 128 million, international 167 mil, total 295, and like this was the biggest opening for Scorsese and DiCaprio, I think, or at least DiCaprio in a while, until Inception, which came out the same year, a few months later.
So, just according to those metrics, this would be considered a success, especially in 2010.
Yeah, I mean 80 to 295.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they made their $40 back.
A whole $40, and none of it still went to the writers.
Wow.
Side note: the dude who wrote the novel also wrote like Mystic River and and he does novels and screenplays, so he's in it. Anyway, Rotten Tomatoes. Do y'all want to get? I mean, y'all could literally see the answer, so never mind. I was gonna say you want to guess.
Wait.
I'm
gonna divine this.
I don't know.
Audience 77, critics 69.
Nice. Yeah, so audience liked it more than critics, which I think I understand.
Yeah, if you try to pick apart the movie from like a technical standpoint, regarding writing at least, I feel like that's kind of where it falls a little short. But I mean, it's a neat watch.
I only see like one issue technically, but maybe I didn't think about it that hard. But I feel like with critics, just not insulting critics, because like I said, we'd fall into the critics bucket too. A lot of them are kind of smug, so if you put this in front of them and they didn't figure it out, they might feel some type of way. So,
yeah, that's totally possible too.
Yeah.
Critics be like, there's a trope in the movie.
I expected only new content from Scorsese. Nothing like anything in the history of human storytelling.
Does horror. What is this?
All of these actors are people I've heard of.
I will say that going into this movie, everything, all the settings to it were like on my shit. Fucking Old Asylum. Dude, just solitary confinement in the middle of an unescapable fortress prison.
Ren, are you okay?
Yeah.
Am I okay? Oh.
That opening music though was so devastating.
We gonna get to it.
Okay, all right, okay. My bad.
I'm just saying it hit all of my quote unquote bliss points when it comes to like economically speaking. I think it works really well.
Sure, you don't need a hug, Ren?
I don't know. I'm been drinking these Bud Light seltzers and they taste pretty bad.
So you need 2 hugs. I got you.
Well, this is my third, so
okay.
Wow.
You just need a snuggle session. It's gonna be all right.
A snuggle session.
But
calling Tim up, be like,
"Hey, buddy, let's go back to Shutter Island."
But shout outs real quick. Quebec came back. Yay.
Omelette du fromage.
And they turned it back off.
And Keith, I see you in Indiana. Shout out.
What's up?
I'm gonna remind y'all to subscribe to the podcast if you listen. On the regular, might as well, right? Like, share, do all that stuff. Moving forward, spoiler warning, huge spoiler warning. Actually, we're gonna spoil it at the top so we can actually talk about this movie as we go.
There you go.
If you haven't seen it, 13-year-old movie, it's all right. I don't expect you to see anything, but it's on Paramount or Showtime, which not everybody got, I guess, because we had to get it.
Oil.
Yeah. But go ahead, watch it. I advise watching it before you have it spoiled for you.
Yeah, this is
and
gonna
then
be
come back.
This is gonna be a lot like Memento. So
Yeah, like
go watch it.
We got to talk about the hook early to properly talk about it.
To be fair, though, they tell you pretty much in the middle of the movie exactly what's going on. So it's not like they save it for the very end.
Nah,
so I don't know if I'd call it.
It had 25 minutes left. That's not the middle of the movie. It's
there's also
2 hour,
a point
20-minute
earlier
movie.
when they just give you the whole movie, but in a way that you go, nah, that's not what's happening.
I'll let you introduce the spoiler, and then I'll talk about it once we get to that point in the movie.
Okay.
Right on.
So here comes the spoiler. So we warned you. Leonardo DiCaprio's character is a patient in the asylum.
Eddie.
And Teddy. And Ben Kingsley, the doctor, he knows that Leonardo is at this point where they're about to lobotomize him. So he comes up with his last-ditch effort to try and save him, because he actually wants to rehabilitate the patients, or at least be nice to them. He's against, like, lobotomies and all that stuff, but it's out of his hands at a certain point. So in the last-ditch effort, he comes up with this whole scheme where everybody gets involved in this role play where they let him act out his delusion in hopes to try and get him to come to grips with what really happened and accept reality. And if he can do that, then he can save him from being lobotomized. So the whole thing is kind of a horse and pony show, but we're seeing it through the eyes of Leonardo DiCaprio's character. So that's the reveal that eventually happens.
I just want to say, like, this seems like a lot of work to break one white man's heart.
They went OP.
I don't know if this is really Ben Kingsley's defense. In Dr. Crawley's defense, or Cawley, it's still a selfish motive. Like, it wasn't all just to save DiCaprio. At some point, they say it was him and Dr. Sheehan's work would they'd be discredited if it doesn't work.
Absolutely. That was the part where I was like, this seems a lot more rude when you put it that way.
Yeah, like they need it to work because their careers
come on,
might be
motherfucker,
on the line.
remember who you are. Shit.
Please.
I got money on this.
So yeah, film starts out in 1954. On a ferry is Edward Teddy Daniels and his new partner Chuck. I don't know how to say his last name. They said it the one time, and Chuck All I don't know.
Chuck Everyman.
Chuck. And his
Chuck
new
me
partner
off the
Chuck
ferry.
travel to Ashcliff Hospital for the criminally insane on Shutter Island in Boston Harbor, or outside past Boston, something like that. They leave Boston to get to it. It's like out there. They've headed there to investigate the disappearance of a patient, and this is okay. Karreem, you go ahead and say the thing you want to say about this.
The epic orchestra of music.
Yeah, the score was pulling a lot of weight.
Yeah,
as they arrived, not as the boat arrived, and then as they made their way up to the hospital, and then at the very gates, it was.
Yeah. They're on the ferry, and they were like, "Hey, we need some music for boating." And they said, "You need foreboding music," and then they just went off.
That's rude.
I will admit, I was a little anxious going in. I was like, "Wait, what is happening?
Look, it was working.
What is going on?"
Look, I don't know if you ever seen that meme where it's like John Williams on the episode 1 soundtrack, and it's like him playing a piano on fire, or not John Williams, but somebody playing a piano on fire, and it's like that. Whoever was the composer for this,
yes.
They put their all.
It doesn't do that again the rest of the movie. Like
Yeah,
it has
chills
music the rest of the
way.
movie, but they never go to
That level,
150%.
I
It
was
gets way more
disappointed.
sparse.
I was low key disappointed. I was expecting it to
Uh,
get that level again. I was like, no.
Mhm.
Especially when they did the big reveal. I was like, oh wait, that's it.
It's like
He's just quiet.
where'd the
Yeah.
composer go?
Meh.
He just
Meh.
went, dun, dun,
Y'all,
dun, 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 dun.
y'all got his cousin, this quiet cousin, to do this. This is okay. All right.
He had to go to lunch.
But
He's like, I'll be back. Oh,
A really
y'all
long
did the
poop.
reveal while I was gone? All right.
but the marshals are led up to Dr. Cowley and they ask about the deputy warden. McPherson's a good man who believes in the work we do here. And like Teddy's like, and what would that be exactly? And Ben Kingsley's like, a moral fusion between law and order and clinical care.
Uh-huh.
Pardon me, doctor, but a what between what and what? He does that 2 times in the movie, and I fucking lost my shit. Because he's supposed to be really fucking smart, or at least the real him is really smart. And I
Yeah.
think Teddy's kind of like Andrew's smart, but Teddy is dumb to an extent.
That actually makes more sense because Teddy seemed like he was constantly being led around.
Teddy
by
was
the
struggling.
nose.
Teddy
Yeah.
Do
was,
what
Teddy
now?
was
I said, hand me your drink so I can top it off. What to do and what?
But a what between what and what?
I will say that anytime I see Ben Kingsley, I just know he's up to some shit. I don't know if he's typecasted or something, but it's never just like a straight character. It's always like, I got something.
He's
It's
got
like,
a little
always
scumbag
interesting.
in him.
it feels like he's so typecasted in a sense, though, or he only goes for these roles. So every time I fucking see him, I know. I'm like, no. Something's not right here. There's
He's
Ben
either
Kingsley. He's a
like-
doctor.
Like spotless and pure, or this guy.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
And the thing is, when he's that guy, when he's trying to pull some shit, he always comes off as like, I'm Ben Kingsley. I'm like, I don't know. I can't do the accent. But I know some shit's going to go fucking sideways when I see Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley be like, look, it's not a big deal. We just need a little help from you. And then like when you turn your back, he's like licking his lips and like rubbing his hands like,
Wow.
Yeah.
like,
Absolutely.
Dude, what's up? Chill.
Oh man. So Dr. Call explains the hospital more and then explains the missing patient, Rachel Solando. She was placed there after she drowned her 3 children and now has she escaped from a room which was locked from the outside, and she slipped by a bunch of orderlies and whatnot. And didn't nobody see her.
Did they ever give a reason why with her or what was wrong? I don't remember.
She killed her 3 children, Karreem.
Right. Did they say like what like was she always crazy? Did something
Oh, she doesn't
snap?
exist.
So here's the quick thing, because I wanted to mention this, but it also ties into the role playing game thing. The doctors and everything, they created Rachel Solando to craft the narrative for Teddy to solve, because he was already dealing with his own shit.
Technically,
trying to avoid.
Teddy created Rachel, and then they ran with it.
Yeah. Okay, so he created Rachel. Because I was
Yeah.
wondering why they would have given her 3 kids to kill.
He loves
Okay.
anagrams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that would be really fucked up, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Just coincidentally, like, oh yeah, your kids died. Oh, weird, she killed her kids. It's like we just made that up a fun role playing game for you.
That's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it would make sense because they're trying to like pull him like towards reality, so it would make sense. But the thing that made me realize that he created her, I guess, on a previous version or something, is the rule of 4 and the anagrams. And Kingsley says that he did it. And so I assume because he reset at some point, they just used some of the bits that he already was talking about as they crafted the role play.
I did forget about the anagram, but we'll get to that way later.
Yeah. Was that it?
More or less, yeah.
Karreem, did
at
you
least
say
for my side.
Yeah, that's good. I'm good.
All right. So the orderlies, nurses, and Dr. Carly, like, they ain't very helpful. And they even learned Rachel's psychiatrist was allowed to leave the island that morning. Like, you have a missing, dangerous patient and you just letting people leave the island? Like her
Dr.
psychiatrist said
Sheehan or
that?
something?
Yeah, Dr. Sheehan.
He got stuff to do.
He was going on vacation. Like he said, look, when I'm on break, I'm on break. I put my
He's like,
PTO in
like
6
no, no,
months
no,
ago.
no. Yeah, like this schedule. No.
Dr. Ed
She could be
Sheeran.
She could be missing any time. I'm supposed to go.
And that night, they join Dr. Kali in his house for drinks, and they meet the German doctor Jeremiah. I don't even know, dog. Nehring. Am I saying that right? Nehring.
Sounds close.
Okay.
I already got the last mispronunciation, so that's all you
I
meant.
forgot to
we
say,
just don't share it.
like to that point, I just thought it was like amazing. He's like, well, I'm really busy right now, but if you'd like to come to my house later on for drinks and cigars, I'll be doing that at 9 o'clock.
That's
I'm like,
some weird
you
old
just
timey shit.
yeah, every day at 9 o'clock on the dot, I smoke a cigar and have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
You a doctor and
But yeah,
some medicinal cigar.
And I am. Yeah.
I am a doctor of the mind, not the body. I don't know.
I could give two shits.
Yeah, so you'd think I didn't watch this movie 2 times today, and I would know how to say this man's name. But anyway, Max von Sydow, he's sitting there, and that further adds to Teddy's suspicions about things, because here you are, this is after World War II. You got a doctor, a German doctor, chilling. And like they kind of make like an immigration joke, and the German doctor asks like, or I came here illegally or something like that, and they're like, did you? You tell me.
Yeah. What up?
But yeah, we also see Teddy having like war flashback, and it takes us back to the liberation of Dachau, where Teddy sees a Nazi commander who botched his suicide, and like he leaves him there to bleed out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes back, and like we also they go back to, they're sleeping with the orderlies, they're sleeping in the orderly quarters.
Sir. Watching the
lovers, enemies to lovers.
And then we see that Teddy has like these vivid dreams of his dead wife Dolores.
Yeah, pretty upsetting.
Yeah,
good times.
A little bit.
Like in the not the flashback, but the dream. Like we see him like hug her as the place is like not really burning, but it's like everything's turning to ash. Like it is. We don't see
that
the
was
fire.
a little disorienting because there were like fire imagery, and then it's like everything's wet.
Yeah,
and then there's blood. It's like, what the fuck, guys?
Her whole back is burnt out.
Pick
I was
something.
like, is this her entire back was burnt out? I'm like, what happened to her? Oh damn!
Until he burnt her back out.
Is that when he wakes up wet because the
roof's leaking on him?
Right.
And it's funny because just before that, the doctor's walking him through, and there's like mahogany wood fixtures and a record player and a fireplace. And
he did explain that because it used to be like an old like army fort or something, and the commander who had it built, when he had his quarters built, he he overspent so much that when the government got the bill, he got court-martialed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Dr. Kingsley, Dr. Cowley's spot, fancy as shit. And they go back to sleep on their leaky roofs and shit.
Yeah. With all the other orderlies.
Yeah. In like the basement too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Teddy decides to stay the next morning because there's a storm bearing down, and like the ferry wasn't going to come anyway with the storm out there. And they interview other patients that were in Rachel's group therapy sessions. First, this dude who cut off the nurse's face. I forgot his name, but Teddy took little pity on him, and he purposely like started to fuck with him, like he got under his skin. And before like the orderlies pulled him away, like Teddy asked the guy if he knew a patient named Andrew Leadus. Then they interviewed a Miss Kearns, who killed her cheating and physically abusive husband with an axe. And they asked, she asked Marshal Chuck to go get her a glass of water. And while he was up getting the water, she grabs Teddy's notebook and writes "run" in all capital letters and gives it back to him. Also, first time I saw the movie, I don't remember what I remember or not, but the first time I watched it this morning, I caught that when she gets the water, she goes to drink it. She doesn't have a glass in her hand, but then when she puts it back down, she puts a glass of water back down. So it's like real quick, this cut, no water. This cut, there is water. I was like, oh, Caught that.
I was not paying that much attention, I guess.
Me neither.
Look, so Ren, I forgot what episode this was, but Ren's the one who sold me on this movie. So I was
Did I?
complaining. Yeah, I was complaining about how I hated the unreliable narrator trope
Oh
in
yeah.
mysteries. And I gave the example of like I can't stand Shutter Island, and Ren was like, "Shutter Island's a good movie. You got to rewatch it." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Nah,
I don't know
it's
if I said good. I think I said it
know."
was like all right.
Look, I gotta
Maybe I said
remember
it was good. I
what
don't know.
movie, but you were really selling it, and I was like, "Okay, dang, okay."
I did
gotta
try to sell
rewatch
you
this
on
movie.
Signs.
Hmm.
The only connection I can recall for Shutter Island is that I think I named my island on Animal Crossing, Shutter Island.
Oh no!
Needless to say, I haven't looked back at it for like 3 years, which pretty much tracks.
Wait a minute. So if you go back to
I
Animal
think it was the
Crossing,
Memento episode.
is it going to be like a whole massacre and you just see bits of little animal people
Probably.
over the island?
That's definitely when the Memento was the time we talked about unreliable.
Yeah, unreliable
narrator. I do
narrator.
remember
Yeah.
that.
But I think I was talking about Sixth Sense
Sixth Sense. That's what it was.
as well.
Yeah, you
But
definitely tried to sell me on Sixth Sense, but
I do think Shutter Island is fine for what it is. I don't love it, but I think it's fine.
Wait, you don't like Sixth Sense?
No,
No,
I thought Sixth Sense was awesome when I was
yeah.
a lot younger. Even now, I'd probably like rewatch it. But
So I told him that I've never seen Sixth Sense, and I have no plans on seeing it because unless we do like an M Night thing, because
that would be fun.
that's the epitome of like the movie got spoiled so much for you that you don't even
Gotcha.
you know, like I didn't
I
see it when it
understand
came
that.
out, and then the whole I see dead people thing like that was huge. Like they were spoiling
Giant
it.
meme.
Whatever grade I was
Mhm.
in, like in elementary, middle school, whatever, when it came out, like they were spoiling it in the schoolyard. Like
That would have
everybody
been
in the
very
world knew
huge
that
nowadays. It
Bruce
would have been a
Willis
huge
was
meme.
already dead, right? So I had zero interest in seeing the movie because I done heard the anyway.
Haley Joel Osment is a robot. Pass it on.
Oh man, don't remind me about AI.
Yeah, so in the Memento episode, we're talking about unreliable narrator, and I brought up
Yes.
not liking Shutter Island because I don't think unreliable narrator is fair in mysteries. And Ren said, "Well, they gave you a lot of clues though, and they did it in a nice way." And I was like, "I don't
Mhm.
remember any of that shit. I got to rewatch it now."
Ah, crap, guys! I'm responsible for this movie now. Damn.
When
Time travel.
I was like, we should probably do Scorsese or Leo. And then I was like, dang, well, there's Shutter Island. All right. So after the interviews, Chuck confronts Teddy about asking the patients about Andrew Lettuce, to which Teddy confesses that Andrew Lettuce was his building's maintenance man that was a firebug, and he lit the fire that killed his wife. And Teddy purposely took this case to try and find Andrew on the island.
And he explains Andrew Lettuce as looking just the most horrific.
Yeah, he said he has a scar from like above his left eye down to.
Yeah, he has a
next to-
conversation with him some point in the movie. I can't remember, but like his face is being held together with staples.
Yeah.
You know,
he got a dead eye. Yeah.
It's like somebody would have been like, "Oh yeah, I saw this dude."
you can't mistake him for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they head up to the graveyard to investigate, but the storm is getting too strong, and the marshals take shelter in the mausoleum. So here Teddy tells Chuck about the liberation of Dachau, where they lined up all the Nazis and fired at him, and because of all that, he's had enough killing, and he doesn't plan to kill Andrew Lettuce, but he's really after the conspiracy that he's been following about the government experiments on people's minds on the island, and he thinks that like Andrew might know something, and he learned about the conspiracies from this ex-patient named George Noyce that they were that they experimented on, and like he got off the island, and I don't know if he caught him and he did something else or something like that, and he said, do whatever to me, just don't send me back there. So the judge gave him life in prison, in federal prison somewhere else. So that's how scary this facility was. And like Teddy wants to figure out what's going on there.
Yeah. Just a couple of things, because you mentioned lobotomies earlier. And just like how farcical like a medical procedure it is basically like we've made these people less violent, but we've destroyed their future lives. But that combined with the whole like, we want to start prescribing drugs to help emotionally regulate these people is like almost like it felt like the baseline settings of like the MK Ultra program in like the 1960s, where they like kind of try to drug and brainwash people into being something that they can use like an asset, like a sleeper agent. You know what I mean? I said banana bread, and now you're gonna like kill your family or something. So I thought it was kind of neat that the movie took place in between these two things, but never actually like touching them. It was just like, we lobotomize people we can't drug into good behavior.
Yeah,
just the whole explanation of a lobotomy is just kind of like, so it's a procedure. We stick something in just behind your eye, get right on top of your brain, and just swish it around.
Yeah. We're gonna take that.
Wait,
little bit.
so
Oop.
what? Yeah, we just mess up a spot in the brain right there, like, and you say this is a scientific thing that you came up with? Yes.
Which part of the brain you're taking?
It's like
the
just,
gray part.
What
I don't
you
know.
can just like snatch a little bit out of there. Do you also work on people's livers? Yeah.
Yeah, just put a
Just
needle in
poke at
there,
it.
just pull some out. I don't know.
in
That
Ben
work?
Kingsley's defense, he was against the lobotomies
Yes.
and the medicine.
Yes, he's against both, and he very much makes the effort to be like, no, these are people. Even though Leonardo DiCaprio is living his best Teddy life and being like, they're crazy, these fucking guys, I'm Boston. The doctor's like, hey, they're still people. We don't want to drug them. We don't want to lobotomize them. We'll even role play to avoid it. That's what I'm telling you right now. He goes through like great lengths to be like, hey, everyone's people, even you. Everyone's people.
Well, he doesn't tell him this part yet.
He just keeps trying to advocate for the patients as human beings, in a way that like you look back on it like, oh, he was basically telling Teddy is like, hey, we want to extend this right to everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you, but we're doing it right now for you.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who could benefit from a thing like that.
Meanwhile, Teddy's just like, these fucking people, they're fucking animals.
No, they're
I don't fucking
criminally
get it.
insane.
I'm from fucking Boston. Like, I'm just like, God damn it.
It's a giant conspiracy. Why is the bean in Chicago? It should be in Boston.
I'm a goddamn U.S. Marshal.
Marshal.
So Marshal Chuck hypes Teddy up by saying they knew Teddy was looking into them, and it's no coincidence he ended up here. He's looking into Asheville, but Asheville was looking into him. Teddy says they'll get off this island just as the wind blows open the doors and like light shines in on them. And it's the guards that were looking for him in the storm. So they take him back to the hospital. But I love this because we already spoiled it, that his partner Chuck isn't actually his partner. He's actually a psychiatrist, but like
he's his enemy.
He's there to like watch him. Obviously, somebody to always be next to him, so because he's a patient, but
and
also
like guide him.
He's guiding him, but he's also like hyping him up, or like, especially in this scene where he's like, he's pushing him further into the conspiracy. It's funny because it's like you'd think that he wouldn't, but they're purposely pushing the delusion along, but they're also guiding him to get to a point where he has to accept the truth, right?
Yeah, which is
this
funny
specific
because
part was just hilarious.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I could remember little bits and pieces about the movie from 10 years ago. But the thing is, that's like when you start entertaining the idea of him making up people and having another personality, you're like, well, shit, that's exactly what somebody would, like, I created a personality that's going to hype me up in my fucking delusions, and we're just going to keep rolling. So by the middle of the movie, and you're like, wait, was Chuck real, or is that a facet of Teddy's perspective, like warped perspective to gas him up?
You're second guessing yourself. Did anyone talk to Chuck?
Yeah.
Did anyone else speak to Chuck?
No, because I was keeping track of that. I'm like, okay, wait. He was spoken to by the doctor once as Chuck.
Oh, no, he
like directed. Yeah, I gathered that later.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, shit, I don't remember who's supposed to be fake and who's supposed to be real.
It's funny because some of the hints involve Chuck, like how he's not he's not a U.S. Marshal because he didn't know how to. He wasn't comfortable like handing over his gun, and he was like fumbling in the beginning. And then in the interview scene with Mrs. Kearns, she was kind of flirting with him. She was talking about Dr. Sheehan because Teddy asked her to like describe him, and she was like, "He's very nice." And she'd look over at Chuck. He's he's easy on the eyes. And then she started getting nervous.
I wouldn't throw him out of the mental facility bed.
Well, we were enemies once.
He doesn't seem like the type of guy who needs to be chopped up, Wink, wink.
Not wink, wink.
I hear he's always angry.
You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
And then when she asks for the water and he gets up to get it, like she keeps looking over at him. He keeps looking back at her. Like they both knew something was up. Well, obviously she was in on it. But yeah, anyway. So they returned to the hospital.
I had one question. Was her writing Run breaking character?
I think so.
She was given lines rehearsed to feed to the marshal.
Yeah.
But she wrote Run as you know what I mean? Was that part of the narrative that they set up? Or did she break character? And that's why she needed to send Chuck
I think
away.
she broke character.
Okay.
Because she would have done it with Chuck there. Like if it was a
that's a good point.
And then because Chuck really was like, what's she trying to tell you? Like what she like he sees her write something down, but like she could have just did it while he was there if it was all a part of the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
What'd she write down?
Because you can even see like her switch, like her being on script, and then she starts like, could you get me some water? Yeah, she starts getting nervous, and then she does it. But yeah, so they return to the hospital and get cleaned up because freaking soaking wet in a hurricane. Then Teddy and Chuck crash a meeting between Dr. Cowley, Dr. Nearing, and a bunch of other dudes. Where the fuck they come from? In a hurricane on the island.
Yeah, they were all there.
They were just.
It's funny because it's like even with the orderlies, you only see a lot of the same orderlies in like the first half of the movie, and then the second half of the movie, orderlies everywhere.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's like I thought there were only 67 patients on the island.
The way I saw it was they called everybody in after the hurricane to help with the cleanup because we saw a bunch more and a bunch but that's the only thing I could think of. But the other dudes, like clearly they were discussing like the shenanigans, like the plan. And then that's why when so they came into the room and they're talking to Cowley, and at some point like Cowley has his back to all of the doctors or whatever. And Teddy says something that makes one of the doctors in the back go, the rule of 4. And Cowley turns around and shoots a glare at him real quick, like, shut the fuck up. And turns back around. So that's what made me think that there were other doctors, and this idiot just like said it out loud, and he was like, look, like you're fucking it up. Yeah. But
I meant the opposite of what I said. Huh? Yeah. Nothing. Never mind.
Rule of 6. But yeah, so then Cowley tells Teddy that, well, we found Rachel. So they go and see her, and Chuck tells Teddy that there isn't even a mark on her, like, because she escaped barefoot. Like, both her shoes were still in the room. And then
it's weird.
Teddy starts asking her questions about a known communist subversive to try and get her to tell them like what she's been up to and like where she'd been the day before and whatnot, and help them narrow down the search. Rachel feeds them her housewife delusions, and because she was at some point they told you that she still thinks she's like at home kind of deal, and she thinks all the orderlies and everybody around her just neighbors and delivery men and shit. So she just tells him shit that she's been seeing, and it ends with like her housewife shit, and then she said she took a long swim in the lake. And then she starts talking as if Teddy was her husband Jim, and like Teddy kind of plays along at first, and then like she hugs him, and then she starts freaking out because she remembers that Jim was dead, and she's like, who the fuck are you?
Jim's not from fucking Boston.
And so like we know that she's not real, so this is just somebody playing along for Teddy. So this specific part I think was like it was supposed to show Teddy like, oh, here's a patient snapping out of it and coming back to reality. So it was kind of planting that seed.
That makes sense.
It seems in the way that like unresponsibly just randomly drugging people with crazy amounts of like mind bending chemicals or just shoving a fucking hook behind their eyeball to yank some brains out, the
Yeah.
extreme amount that they would have to go through just to role play this whole thing for him. And they didn't even think to be like, oh shit, now we have to have a person act as Rachel. Oh
Right.
shit, she doesn't look like she's been walking in the dirt for 24 hours straight in a storm. Oh shit, she never took, you know what I mean? It's like, you guys were just really just scrambling. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
somebody had a good idea at a board meeting, said, I think we should try D&D.
I thought that, and then
Who
I
paid
wasn't
for all-
sure
Who was
because
paying for all of this?
Chuck was the. I mean,
The
they're
state.
there regardless. You know, they didn't really have to like bring in outside actors because
No,
like,
they just used like the nurse, but it didn't. It felt like it didn't allow him to come to terms with like the idea of the mystery that he was setting up. It felt like it sent him down this different rabbit hole of like, oh, there's a conspiracy, and this Rachel isn't real, or she is real, or she was missing.
no, it was on purpose.
They
It
clearly
was.
had a woman
Yeah.
who was actually suffering
Mhm.
from mental health problems, but I don't think they anticipated like it going like it was going. Like
Yeah.
maybe the questions went on too long and it all just deteriorated on him. But him seeing her break just made things worse.
It's some wild shit.
We're just trying things out. We're just winging it. It's fine.
Yeah. It's like why you just the other dog like why are we doing this again? I'm Ben Kingsley.
Just to see if it works.
I think the German doctor was betting against it, and then they were
Mhm.
like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're. I don't think they were enemies, but it was just like, I don't know, old chap. Like,
They're colleagues.
yeah,
Like, bro, can you just let me cut a bitch? I'm bored.
because in that meeting that
This
they
whole
busted in
island
on, he was saying
boring.
like, if it was up to the German dude was like, if it was up to me, everybody would be in chains. Like,
Oh
so
yeah.
he's kind of more
Yeah.
hardcore like that, and Ben Kingsley's like, nah, they should be free, and we should treat them nice. And
Let's
shit
just
like
not
that.
let's not forget what some of the like German doctors thought of people with mental health
Look,
problems.
Look, and even Teddy even kind of like
That was
points that out.
implied. Yeah, a little bit. It's like, oh, how'd you come over? He's like, oh, well, good fortune.
I was here before that thing happened. So
What? If there was a thing, was there a thing?
I don't
I'm
even
just
remember.
German.
Who said there was a
Yeah.
thing?
I never
I
been to
think
Brazil.
He like in actuality they the US they brought German scientists over and gave them
Yeah,
immunity and
Mhm.
housing, and they set them up. Not all of them, but
Yeah.
so they
a
could
lot
build
of
rockets, right?
yeah, it's like, okay, well, you're going to come over here and you're going to help our efforts in this or that. Not all military, because some of it, like he's what, a psychiatrist or something. Like some of it was
Yeah.
like that, but still, that's why he said I came over here legally because
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
part of Project
Yeah.
Paperclip.
See, I don't actually remember if that's the name of it or you just pulled the name out your ass, but I'm gonna say yeah.
No, Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from former Nazi Germany to the U.S. for government employment after the end of
Yeah.
World War II.
I only barely ever heard of that, but this sounds like right up that alley. It's not far fetched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
So like there's a
invited
lot of
especially with
stuff like
the-
Cold War scare, all that stuff. Everything kind of intermingles into like a really fun setting, you know? So
Mhm.
this movie kind of had me hooked.
So yeah, so Rachel flipping out, that triggers a migraine in Teddy, and for
Mhm.
the second time we see him have a headache attack, because the first
It's
time
like
was like the night he got there.
Yeah, it's like a thunderclap migraine. You see bright lights and it's really sudden and it's really intense, but it kind of goes away
It
relatively
doesn't help that
quickly.
there was also like actual like bright lights, like the lightning.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so they get him to bed, and then he has a series of weird dreams where he sees Andrew Lettuce, and like that's where we see the dude with the messed up face.
I think that's Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles.
Really?
I'm not supposed to know that actor's name. He was Casey Jones from Ninja Turtles.
Sir, you can't just say that though. And wait, now I go.
Elias Cotis? Cotes?
Yep, you're right.
I know an
Wow.
old white guy when I know one.
Damn, dude. I don't know how you got that.
I think it was his delivery more than anything.
Like that's so Ninja Turtles.
Well, just kind of his like, it was like, dude, What the
Wow.
hell? Like you
Wow.
just, and I think that was also his little weird delivery was just another thing to show that he wasn't real.
See, way better than me because I was like, "Is that SVU?"
You got to be in a thing that I really like before that works though. Like I probably watched Ninja Turtles in the theater 3 times.
All right. So he sees Andrew Lettuce, Rachel Solando, asking him for help with the dead kids.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was really weird because he was like, I'll get in trouble.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all the dead kid stuff started like the movie started getting real heavy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then finally he thinks he sees his dead wife come into the room that he was sleeping in, and she tells him that Lettuce is still here and he needs to find him. And then he actually wakes up. So like his his wife is pushing his shit along.
The old ball and chain.
Jesus.
Solve my murder, Teddy.
Teddy wakes up the next morning to the orderlies and nurses buzzing around, and Chuck tells him that the storm did a number on the place and like the backup generator got flooded and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to use this opportunity to set out to explore Ward C, which is like prohibited that we learned in the beginning of the movie.
Per Chuck's idea. So
Yeah.
Chuck's idea.
Ted
like,
is
hey,
being led.
We'll be able to sneak in real easy in these orderly outfits that somebody
Yeah.
gave us for
How
no
convenient.
reason.
Yeah.
Yep. And like that's also where the most dangerous patients are kept. So that's why they weren't allowed to go. So a patient hops up, and when they get in there, a patient hops up and plays tag with Teddy.
Boy. I'd
And
been like,
this ends up
I'm
with
done. I'm not crazy no more. We gotta go.
man, he like popped up out the darkness
I
too.
don't like this. Sorry.
This ends up with Teddy in a headlock, and the guy tells him that he wasn't going to leave without him. But then he starts going on about hydrogen bombs and shit. He's like, you know what makes up a hydrogen bomb? Well, hydrogen? You're real funny.
Dumb. As him being dumb again.
Yeah, I was gonna say Teddy not so smart. Okay, he's a marshal.
You know,
then,
hydrogen.
Teddy breaks free and then he beats the dude up. And a guard and Chuck show up and they take the guy to an infirmary, leaving Teddy to explore by himself.
I was gonna say it was refreshing that the guard was like, "You're not supposed to beat up a patient, jackass."
Is Teddy Daniels gonna have to choke a bitch?
Oh, also,
joke.
When Chuck and Teddy come in, did you notice that they happen to run into Rodney Dangerfield's like second cousin?
Jesus,
because like that guard,
What?
I swear to God, the guard that they run into while they're going into Ward C, I swear to God, he looks like Rodney Dangerfield.
That is, the weird thing is I noticed him being distinctive. I wouldn't have thought of Rodney Dangerfield.
It was the nose.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Man, being an orderly, no respect.
Yeah. This guy's throwing his cum at me. Can you believe this? No respect.
I told a joke and he gave me a comeback, but not the kind you're thinking.
Wow. Whoa.
Okay. So Teddy reaches the other patients and eventually finds George Noyce, who Teddy said was the guy who told him about the conspiracy about the experiments that they're doing in Ashcliff, sorry. And like George was supposedly in federal prison because he begged not to be taken back to Ashcliff, but so now he's here. And George tells Teddy everybody's deceiving him. They're going to take him to the lighthouse to be lobotomized, all because of Teddy. Also, he says, she's dead, let her go. You got to let her go. She's fucking with your head. She's going to kill you. You want to uncover the truth, you got to let her go. And Teddy's like, I can't. And then he's like, then you'll never leave this island. And then like you see like Teddy's dead wife come out of the corner and she's like, don't listen to him.
Yeah.
Like,
if ever you needed a second, to be sure that it's not an illusion, just talk to your dead wife in the corner of a room that she shouldn't be in.
No. What's he talking about?
That's the crazy thing was it wasn't an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
It was this part is real. And then here comes her fake ass out the shadows.
She's the illusion.
With Teddy again. She's the illusion. Yeah.
So there was one thing that I wanted to mention real fast that you were talking about it, and then it clicked for me that it feels like Teddy latched on to Noyce's delusion about the lighthouse You know
That's
what
where
I
he got
mean?
it from.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they were
Yeah,
they were
that's where the
like
inception of the idea
not
is.
cellmates, but like they were in cells close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and like so they were. I guess they were buddies or something,
I
or
mean, they're at
something
least around
happened.
each other.
They're
Yeah,
enemies.
they're at least around each other. And what really happened was Teddy beat the shit out of
Yeah.
George Noyce because Noyce called him Andrew Lettuce while he was in Teddy mode. And Teddy was like, "Why the fuck would you call me that?" And like he
Yeah.
because Teddy's real name is Andrew, and so he had this like, "No, I'm not."
Spoiler. No.
Yeah, and beat the shit out of George.
Spoiler alert. Here's a spoiler.
Yeah.
Only
So
13 years
that's
old.
why Noyce is in there, and Teddy's running around talking about these conspiracies and shit that he got from Noyce. So now they're like, "Oh well, we got to lobotomize Noyce." So now Noyce is like, "You fucking did this shit to me. You beat me up. First you beat me up, then you told everybody my secrets. Now they about to get rid of me. Look what you did. Fuck you." But also, you got to let your wife go, man. She's fucking with you.
He's upset, but you could tell that he genuinely pities Andrew.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm crazy, but you're messed up.
fucked.
Oh man.
I like to take a short second to point out that I have completely stepped away from the literal fact that I worked at a mental health living facility for a few years.
I was wondering if you're gonna bring it up. I mean, I wasn't gonna bring it up for you.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
something that
Right.
had happened was there was this one guy who was there, and I can't obviously tell anybody who they are and whatnot. All of those things applied to me, even though I wasn't licensed. But there's this one guy.
We can
and
just call him Teddy.
He was he was in and out because of addiction problems, and this was like maybe the
Burgers.
third time he'd been there. I was sort of new, and we're just like hanging around the office. He would come up to the office because everybody's free to go wherever. It wasn't a lockdown facility. So he's just chilling in the office with me. Everybody's coming in and getting their meds and going back to their room. And he's just like joking around. He's just like, man, like when I first met you, like you were like walking around. I just thought you were one of us. I was like, haha. And he goes, no, like seriously. Like I was just like, you know, he's like, you're closer to our ages. And you just kind of seem like somebody was like, you know, in the facility. I was like, that's not funny. Thank you. Just don't do that. And he's just like, I mean, I'm like, you know, I'm just being serious. Like, you know, like I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying like it seemed like it. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He goes, I mean, because I can't even tell. Like, you could be one of us. I was like, don't stop that. But then at one point I was like, I'm not in the facility, my man. I have a radio. And he just goes, what if they just gave you a radio to make you think you work here?
Oh,
I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that.
Master manipulator. That's what got him in there.
I get home later and my wife comes. I tell her, she goes, no, that's stupid. Why would anybody do that? You're at home right now. And I was like, but what if y'all were letting me go home as part of the thing? She's like, stop. And I was like, okay, I'm cool. And I just dropped it. It eventually just was out of my brain, and I would like make fun of him and he'd joke about it. And then like in 2010, Shutter Island came out. And I saw it and I was like, motherfucker.
Look,
Oh no.
I'm not saying this is what I would do in this situation, but I imagine, you know, folks are in there, not too much to do. I'd fuck with people.
Mm-hmm. The other side, a much goofier thing. My very first night, same office. I'm waiting to do meds, and this is my first time working by myself. And I hear somebody in the hallway talking, and I'm like, "What's going on back there?" And I go down the hallway, and there's this guy, like just kind of big old dude, standing in the middle of the hallway. Oh my god! And I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh hi." I was like, were you just talking to somebody?" He goes, "No, I was talking to myself. This is a mental institution." I was like, and I was very nervous about what the job was going to be like, and that just put me on an even tier because he's just like, "What are you talking about? I'm talking to myself. This is a mental health living community. This is a mental institute. What are you talking about?" And he just walks away, and I was like, "Okay." Later on, he comes and gets his meds. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Hey, we met earlier. You work here. Cool." He just walks off. I was like, Then there was a time that a guy shit all over his roommate's house. So it was a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
All right.
A rewarding experience.
It's definitely an experience, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Georgia told Teddy that Andrew Lettuce must be at the lighthouse.
Man.
Also, don't trust Chuck. So after Teddy comes out of Ward C and meets up with Chuck, they head out towards the lighthouse, but Teddy leaves Chuck behind because he suspects him of being suspicious.
Suspicious.
And
be suspicious.
Teddy sees the path to the lighthouse is blocked by high tide, so he returns to Chuck, but Chuck's gone. All that's left is a cigarette, his smoking cigarette. And Teddy thinks that he fell off the cliff or got pushed off the cliff or something. He thinks he sees the body at the bottom of the cliff. So
it did look like there was a body at the bottom.
It did.
Yeah,
it really did.
I was like, damn, this is going
So
sideways.
he climbs down to the bottom of the cliff, and he sees that it was just like the cliff, like just happened to look like a man in
The
white.
rock just was weirdly, it's strange,
colored, shining in the right light. I don't know. Yeah, but it was like it wasn't a man. The rock just looked like that.
Boy.
But anyway, now he's at the bottom of the cliff with the ocean bashing up against him and a whole bunch of rats.
He should have fucked his hands up pretty bad.
A whole bunch. That's an understatement.
Like, boy.
Yeah, that like them rats were like rolling deep.
That was like New York rats.
And he from a major city because he just was unfazed.
Yeah. Let me put my foot all up in these rats.
Right, 2 foot long rats, and he's just I'm just stepped.
Y'all move. I'm about to go back to the crazy house. Oh, we know.
Look, the rats alone, like that would have taken me out if I made it this far in this movie. Rats would have gotten me. Anyway, so he looks up and he sees a cave in the cliffside with light coming from it, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" So he climbs up in there, thinking that maybe Chuck's in there. And he sees a woman. And she says that she's the real Rachel Solando, who used to be a doctor. And she got committed there because she found out about the secret Nazi mind control experiments.
Boy.
So I noticed at this part that this is where I fell asleep at in 2010. And I fell asleep at the exact same spot.
And he woke up
this morning. And I woke up. I'll tell you when I woke up, but it's funny that I fell asleep and woke up at the exact same parts.
Oh, jeez.
13 years apart. But it's a good thing I already planned to watch it again so I could like write my notes. Because I wanted to give it like just the honest watch this time where I'm just paying attention.
He's ready.
Like,
not asleep.
I mean, not just not asleep, but like I didn't know I fell asleep the first time. But just to give it like an honest watch, like so I don't go in as a hater. And like give it my full attention. That's all.
Damn, that's harsh though. For like a movie review, it's like, how'd you like the movie? I fell asleep twice.
Sometimes it's me.
Same part.
Sometimes it's me, and like I do think that this was kind of a lull in the movie.
It is.
Stuff was happening, but it wasn't like we didn't have that music. Like, everybody cracking jokes.
And I'm gonna be like fair. This cave situation.
Mm-hmm.
The part with the cave. Doesn't it feel like this entire section of the movie could just be cut out?
Yeah, see, thank you for pointing that out, because that is why I didn't think I missed anything, because I woke up at the end of the part that you're talking about, not thinking I missed anything. They didn't know I missed anything.
Cover a lot of stuff that is brought up later.
Actually,
because he already thought about suspecting the Nazi experiments or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the real, or Rachel 2 is what she's credited as.
Rachel 2.
Didn't really do much except just further along him suspecting folks. And then afterwards, like he falls asleep afterwards or whatever. And she wakes him up the next morning. Was like, look, your ass gotta go, get out my cave. I'll need you bringing them, finding me. Mm-hmm. And she even says like, I'll never get off this island because they control the ferry, but I still don't want to get caught. So I move around.
So
night.
where is she eating rats is what she's trying to say.
Look, she had cans of stuff, but eventually she gonna run out of cans unless she's just breaking into the hotel, the hospital at night.
Yeah,
and stealing cans of sardines.
I don't understand. I know you guys already mentioned the rat part, but I don't understand like what butthole they came out of in the ground. It wasn't like, is there a rat hole in rocks on like rocky shores? You know what I mean?
Probably.
That is
And then when
common.
the tide comes in, it pushes the water up and it pushes them out.
And they
I mean,
know
I
not to
guess
go in the cave because
it
there's a
was just
crazy
like a
crazy
really
lady that
weird
will eat them.
hole. It was like a perfect hole, you know?
It was wild.
It was gross. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. And what I was saying before was that it's the movie. It's like how to phrase this. It is difficult to spoil the movie because they already let you in on the fact that Noyce says to him, "You are the problem. The problem is
Yeah.
you." So they've already established with the audience at that point that he is an unreliable narrator. So to double down and then reintroduce Rachel, who is gassing him up again, because like at that point it's
Yes.
like we're considering if Chuck is real, right? Because Chuck is
Mhm.
just like, keep doing this thing, and then Rachel's like, hey, let me tell you about things that could make you doubt all this now.
Nah, but well, the whole everything
Yeah.
before the final reveal
Mm-hmm.
is arguable.
Yeah.
So like even when we were talking about Noyce, like we know now that that was actually real, but in the moment
Yes.
we don't know it's real because then his dead wife shows up like, what's up?
Right.
Well,
Like,
I was given the presumption that it was real. It was just that it kind of introduced the idea that we should doubt his perspective. But then
I
we
got
meet
you.
Rachel as well, and it's like, okay, it feels like it didn't do enough to separate these instances.
I could see that.
I think it's on purpose because
Yeah.
we're Teddy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be like the movie is fucking with you as the audience. So that's why it's like it's not until the final reveal that we get that okay, this is real, this isn't. Because even when I was watching it, or I guess my third watch, the second watch today, when I got to Rachel and I was like, oh shit, I fell asleep. What the fuck's she talking about? Hold up. Like, and then I'm trying to wait for something to happen to be like, oh, this bitch ain't real. But it
Yeah.
doesn't happen. And I'm like, wait.
I think what drove me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Karreem.
No, I'll just say it's like it caught me too, where I was wondering, like, like, what is her part here? Is she real? Isn't she real? What's happening? Because this part of the cave seemed to me it seemed too set up with the way the body dropped, and then all of a sudden he sees light, and all of a
It's
sudden she's
very
there in the
convenient.
cave.
Yeah.
Where I was like, she's part of it. She's part of it.
Mhm.
They put her there. They put her in the cave.
Right.
Hang out in
could
this
be a few
cave.
days.
There's a 70% chance he'll
and
show up.
she had that and she had that weapon because of the rats. It was like, look, we're
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
put
she
you.
had the knife.
She's like,
I
I
think-
got a
rat
knife.
knife.
Watch out.
But then when she started talking and telling him not to trust anything, I was like, oh wait, is this the
Mhm.
others? Is this the other doctor setting this up to make it not work?
Yeah, that was like the big question: is who exactly is an illusion and who actually is
That
part
would
of the
have been a
conspiracy?
whole cool
Yeah,
extra layer to this movie if the doctors were playing their own game.
I almost thought that the German
Uh.
doctor was supposed to be behind it, and Ben Kingsley and Chuck were supposed to be fake. They were like illusions. Because everybody had a piece to play. But the thing that drove me nuts about Rachel was that we had
Which
his
Rachel?
actual
One or
wife.
two?
Exactly. We had the actual wife, we had Nurse Rachel, and then we had the delusion that was Rachel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Nurse Rachel was in his dreams
And the
about his
delusion is
wife.
a Dr. Rachel.
Yeah, it was it felt really convoluted at that point. It's like we just introduced the third character who is the same character, basically.
It's fucking with you.
It
It's like how Nolan was jumping forward and backwards to make you feel like what was his name? Not Teddy. Teddy was a bad dude in that movie. Leonard.
I'm Teddy
Was to
Daniels.
feel
I'm your friend.
disorienting. Like the
Honestly,
movie was purposely disorienting you. This movie purposely makes you feel like I can't trust shit.
you
Yeah.
know, Chuck was a prime role for Joe. They really just screwed him out of that. He could have
Like the
nailed
more
that.
I think about it, these movies like do go kind of hand in hand. Like they would make a good double feature of just fucking with you. If you want to feel disoriented and confused for 4 hours, watch Memento and Shutter Island back
Oh
to back.
God.
Put them at the drive-in together. It's a double feature. How much is popcorn? It's $4, or is it? No, what? How much is
Just
the
give me
goddamn popcorn?
But yeah, so real Rachel kicks him out out the cave in the morning so they don't find her when they come looking for him. He climbs back up the cliff and eventually gets picked up by the warden, who tells him he doesn't believe any of the doctor's stuff and knows that Teddy is just a violent dude because he himself is a violent dude. And it takes one to know one.
Dude.
Real recognize real.
He was a little scary. And it was like, I don't think he's getting out of his car.
I don't know why they didn't do more with that character.
Think about this. I slept through this part too. So
well, dang.
In my first 2 watches, the warden never has a line.
Yeah.
Because before this, you just see him looking menacingly at Teddy.
Dude, I made a note about that shot too.
And so, like, I was like, really? He just never talked. He just glared at him.
So he has like 2 scenes, and the one time is like when Chuck is telling him, it's like, oh yeah, that's the warden. Don't worry about him. And it's like, how can I not worry about the warden when he's framed so menacingly?
That's Chekhov's warden.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they never actually use him. So
they just use him to pop and be like, hey man, you ain't shit.
Just that's it. That's it.
Look, I don't
you
care
think you're
about
hard?
This crazy shit. What matters is you a piece of shit, and I know you a piece of shit because I'm a piece of shit. I see you.
Yeah.
All right, carry ass back in this hospital.
I like the part that ended it though. He's just like, hey, if I jumped up and biffed you in the eye, you think you could stop me before I like just
blind you?
Just blind you?
Why don't you try it?
Give it a try. I was like, oh shit, they about to go.
I need some more Boston in those responses.
That's what I would have said. Yeah.
Give it a try.
My man.
My man.
My man. Yeah, he just very much was like, yeah. My
Denzel Washington. So that did really kind of drive me nuts because it was like they could have put the warden in at any point in time. They had like the captain of the guards or whatever.
Like make it more distinct.
It was weird that they had to spread the cast out so much.
Yeah, I think they hired too many people, and then somebody was like, there's only 10 people in the script, and they went, oops.
Yeah,
3 Rachels.
It's too many cooks, guys. Too many cooks. Too many Rachels.
3 Rachels now.
Too many Rachels in the kitchen. So when Teddy returns to the hospital, he asks Dr. Colley about his partner Chuck, and Colley tells him he arrived at the island alone.
See, that's the other part. Why? What was the point in doing that?
And he said it so subtly. It's like that's that. Is that not a big deal?
No, you didn't.
No, I think they're in disorienting him and fucking with him, like throwing him off. Like I think it's like they're spinning him around so fast, and eventually when they let him go and he starts wobbling is when he comes back to reality. And like it's like they're pumping up his delusion so much that it has to break because then nothing would make sense. He can't keep it up anymore.
So
and then he's just left with the facts.
So my thing is that when I was telling you before that this felt very irresponsible in the same way that jamming a metal piece up a person's nose to pull their brain out, it was much the same thing, because if they wanted to lean towards that delusion, it feels like they should have confirmed. It's like, yeah, no, Chuck came back. He's okay. Like, you came here with Chuck to solve this mystery, not, hey, maybe you're crazy. And they just fucking gaslight him for the rest of the movie. It's like, guys, like, pick one.
No, right. Like,
one
I'm
delusion.
trying to get you to leave this part alone because this is him.
I can't.
Because now now Chuck. Remember, he didn't trust Chuck.
He was growing to not trust Chuck. Yes.
Yeah, but then now he's at the part where he misses Chuck. Like, Chuck, come back.
Where's my friend?
Where's
my enemy?
Like, so now he thinks that like he completely threw out what Noyce said, and he's like, I need my friend back. They got him. The Nazi evil doctors got him, and I gotta save him now. Like, this is when he has that switch. And so the next part is he encounters the German doctor in the hallway or whatever, and he takes his needle or whatever, syringe, and he's like, oh, it's just a sedative. We always keep them, which is true, right? Like,
yeah.
The doctors usually have sedatives on them.
Maybe in the 50s?
Then he sedates the doctor with his own sedative, and then he dips out and he decides, okay, well, now I gotta save Chuck. And they must have taken Chuck to the lighthouse because he knows too much, and now they're going to lobotomize him, so I gotta save him. So he blows up Dr. Cowley's car
like, bro,
as a diversion. I don't know.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
what
Although-
was a failed
Although
diversion.
in this scene, it's funny because he keeps looking back. He can't leave. Because the thing is, though, it feels like it nails concrete to the idea that his wife and his kids are dead. In fact,
Yeah. So yes, yeah. 'Cause it's funny because we get the So the dead wife delusion comes back,
Mhm.
and she's like, she's trying to say, you know, you gotta. What are you doing? What are you fucking with this car for? Go. You got to get to the ferry. Get off this island.
I gotta
And
save Chuck.
And he's like, I'm sorry, I gotta save Chuck. Also, like he was using his tie to stick down into the gas tank so he could set it on fire to blow up the gas tank. And he was like,
Check out his
also,
tie.
I love it. I love you. I love your tie because
He's
you
one.
gave it to me. But also, it's one fucking ugly tie, babe.
It's true.
Blows
That should have
up
been the
tie.
first red flag. Is when he got that tie.
They should have cast Schwarzenegger as Teddy. I love this tie because you gave it to me, but it's one fucking ugly tie. Boom! I was blowing up a car.
So yeah, that was him starting to separate from fake head wife.
It's like he's coming to terms with the fact that he's seeing things.
Yeah, like it's really weird because they don't push him in so many different directions.
Yeah.
But now he's starting to like, okay, well, Chuck is real though, so I gotta save Chuck. So he makes his way to the lighthouse, he disarms a guard on the rocks, and once he
Dude.
goes inside,
Probably
Go
left
ahead.
that guard for dead. When that tide comes in.
well, he didn't like break his legs, I hope not.
No,
right?
he knocked
just
him
kinda-
unconscious.
Oh,
He
like,
gun butted him.
It's like, who did?
oh shit.
Who's that new guard? Put him on duty up there. Why?
He's all right though, because dude would have saw to him on the way in. But yeah, so he goes in and he discovers Dr. Colley at the top of the lighthouse. And when he comes in, Colley's like, "Why are you all wet, baby?" He's like, "What did you say?" Because that was one of the things was Colley would purposely say things from his file that the
Would
wife
trigger him.
had said. Yeah. So that was one of those things. And Teddy tells him that he found Dr. Solando out in a cave, but Colley tells him she wasn't real, and he goes on through explaining everything. And Teddy is shaken because he's having these shakes because it's actually withdrawals from chloropromazine, which is one of the medicines that they had him on the whole time he was there. And well, that's when he says, you know, you've been taking it here for the last 24 months. You've been here. You're a patient. So then he explains like the names, which is the rule of 4, which I probably should have looked up to properly understand. But Edward Daniels is an anagram for Andrew Lettuce, and Rachel Solando is an anagram for Dolores Chenal.
This whole movie, I thought they were saying lettuce, like green vegetable lettuce. And I was like, huh? I was just like, lettuce? And then they showed it written on the board. I was like, I feel dumb as hell.
To be fair, Latest is a pretty dumb name.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. It definitely, like, once he said it was an anagram, I was like, oh, that sounds like an anagram ass name. Like,
you think he would have had the anagram name because the other name sounded too real. Like, you just lucked out. You had a stupid name. You made a new one that's good. That's why you want. That's why you want to change personalities. Your new name sounds like a person. Your old name sounds like a sim.
It's really traumatic.
So he made it, and he made everything up because he's unable to face the truth. And then Chuck enters, or before Chuck enters, Colley had called down to him or something to like, check on the guard. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Yeah. He told him to check on the guard before he came in. I'm sorry, Colley was talking to Chuck or something like that. Anyway, Chuck comes in now, and then we learn that Chuck is actually Dr. Sheehan, Teddy's psychiatrist, who pretended to be his partner and stick close to him because Colley created an entire role play scenario all to try and get Teddy, Andrew, to come to terms with the truth. He shot his wife after she drowned their children. And Dolores was a manic depressive. And after she set their apartment on fire, they moved to a lake house. And instead of Teddy like getting her help, he ignored people trying to say, yo, something ain't right with your wife. She needs some help. He ignored all of that. Also, he was a drunk, and he kind of pulled away from his family anyway. So I'm not sure which came first, though. Did they say that if he was already a drunk and was
I
pulled
think
away
he
from
was
his family
already the drunk.
Yeah.
from the shit that happened in the war?
Yeah,
I
World
think
War
war
II.
Yeah.
war messed him up. He came home, got drunk too much.
Yeah, that in turn worsened his wife's condition, and then all he did was move out to the lake house with them instead of actually being there for her and
Mhm.
getting her help after she
And
set the
what was
apartment on fire.
the wife's condition?
Manic
Crazy.
depressive,
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I believe.
The technical term, the medical term is cray cray.
yeah. So
It's postpartum cray cray, actually.
Sorry.
Cherry is
Damn.
in the other room, like they're fucking up. I know it.
I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody who listens to this.
It's okay. I have to apologize the last episode. I kept making OCD jokes. Sorry, Cherry. So yeah, so wife had some issues and it made it worse because he wasn't the best husband. And being a US, because he really was a US Marshal,
Yeah.
like he'd be gone. So like when he was home, he was drunk, and then when he'd be gone a lot because of his job, and she needed him there for support, and he wasn't. And then instead of getting her help, he was like, "Well, we just go move out to this lake house." And then he came back from being a U.S. Marshal,
Mash.
and he came home, and he's like, "Hey, baby, why are you wet?" And then he sees the bodies of the children floating out in the water.
Yeah, and mind you, I'm watching this at like 11 at night. All three of my kids are asleep in the living room around me. I'm just like, okay. I don't want to watch this right now. I finished it though.
Yeah, you had 20 minutes left. You had to power through.
I had to watch the movie in parts. Also,
Yeah.
I watched the first half last night, but then a tropical storm started when the hurricane hit in the movie.
Wow.
So
Now I question everything.
So I was
I don't
like,
mean to
all right,
laugh at
I'll
you.
just go to bed. And in the morning, I got up and looked around the yard. I was like, oh, my fence is all messed up. Oh, those people lost a tree. And I come inside, watch the other half where the whole mental facility was all messed up. I was like, okay.
Maybe I am in the facility.
There's tree parts through the windows and shit.
You're part of a new treatment program.
I'm good.
It's part of the Truman Show.
But yeah, so after he goes out into the water and pulls the kids' bodies out, which that whole scene is rough.
Yeah,
it was hard. It
just goes on and on.
They were
and
trying for the
Yeah.
Oscar off that.
Yeah. So fun, or I don't want to say fun fact.
And the kids were dead. Fun fact.
This was supposed to come out in 2009 to go for award season run.
Oh.
But Paramount didn't have enough money for the advertising for the award season push, which would have been like another like 40 to 60 million.
God,
so they didn't have enough money to, because like they have to pay for like the screeners to get sent out to everyone and all that shit to do it right.
So much money.
Yeah, so
Man.
it got pushed back to February 2010, and then it didn't have like any Oscar stuff or anything like that because
nothing.
It missed award season. Not for the next year either because it came out so early.
Oh damn!
Also, probably Inception and shit outshined it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you got your big star in the movie. He came out with another movie that he led that was just even bigger, and yeah, people already forgot.
It's like you're in too many Oscar-worthy movies. We're gonna have to wait on that for you.
Yeah,
I beg your pardon.
If they had the money, it might have worked because. Not to get into a whole Avatar conversation, but Avatar came out December 2009, and part of the reason why it like was such a success, I think, is because it actually didn't really have any competition for like 3 months.
Oh.
Not that this movie would have competed against it, but like I'm saying nothing. There wasn't
a
whole
that
lot
makes
going
sense.
on.
There was just wasn't anything like it.
Anyway, Kali explained this, and then we got the flashback scene that all happened, and that shit was rough.
Yeah.
I noticed that the girl was moving, and I was like, stop, don't even.
Yeah,
stop
please
don't. I wonder how many times they did that. They probably didn't do that scene a lot, that shot like multiple times, just because it was so rough.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just went with the best shot, which still had one of the kids moving in it.
Like,
But
just go. Keep going.
yeah, we're not going to keep filming this over
We're
and
not
over.
doing this 5 times.
Good
Which
enough.
I honestly understand. Like,
Yeah,
that because that's like
absolutely.
It was just so grisly, the concept of it, and like so
Yeah.
tragic. And nobody comes out better for it. Everybody is worse off.
Oh yeah.
So like there's some, I don't know if this is Scorsese style or not, but some directors will make you do something 40 fucking times. And part of it is like they know the more times you do it, the better you'll get at it kind of deal. So they purposely make you do things a lot. But like this is one of those times that I feel like even those type of directors would have been like, all right,
No, we good.
yeah,
Well,
we
it's not so much just expecting the result from DiCaprio, but it's also the kids.
The
It's
kids,
like, hey,
yeah.
kids, I'm gonna
Be
make you
dead.
pretend your mother killed you 50 times until I get the shot I want.
What we're
Yeah.
gonna
Be
need
more
is for
dead.
you guys to, act dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's your motivation, Leonardo.
Yeah.
These are dead kids. I know. Can we just get this on? Can we just do this now? Okay, if you think you're ready, I was trying to help.
So after that he faints, and awakening later, Dr. Colley asks Andrew why he's there, and Andrew confesses, I'm in here because I shot my wife, yada yada yada. And Colley says he got him to this point before, but he reset,
Mm-hmm.
which is frustrating. But Colley needs him to accept his reality, because if he doesn't, this time they're gonna lobotomize him. Also, Dr. Colley and Dr. Sheehan's work is going to be discredited.
Which is the
You
actual,
got-
that's actually the worst part.
It's like, you got to do this, man, or we're gonna look dumb.
Yeah, it look dumb as hell.
We're gonna look
like
Come
they didn't say
bad.
this part, but they said it earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm just slipping it in
They
there for
got it out
emphasis.
there. They put that on
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah, like we need this to work. So we see Andrew go outside, and he sits in front of the hospital or whatever, and Dr. Sheehan joins him. And Andrew asks, what's our next move? And Sheehan replies, I don't know, you tell me. And Andrew goes, we got to get off this rock, Chuck.
Mm-hmm. Full relapse.
Implying
He was like okay for like 8 hours.
So it flipped back, and like you see Mark Ruffalo, who plays Chuck / Dr. Sheehan, you see the look on his face like, fuck. And he slowly turns, and like he looks out, and you see that Dr. Colley, the German doctor, and the warden were on the other side of the
signals him.
Yeah, other side of the lawn, and he
literally gives him
hand.
the hand under the chin, like, nah. We're done.
Nah,
we're done.
Cut it.
Yeah. So, and like you see Dr. Colley, he looks super upset because he's like also like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gives the go ahead to the warden and the German doctor, because that's what made me think that they were like at odds.
Yeah.
To go do their thing, and then they signal for 2 orderlies to approach with and you see them carrying these towels and in the towels they have the lobotomy equipment. And
it's cracking me up.
Boy.
You see Andrew leans into Dr. Sheehan, and he asks, which would be worse, to live as a monster or to die as a good man? And then Sheehan looks at him like real curious, like, and Andrew gets up and he joins the orderlies, and Sheehan stands up and he's like, Teddy? And he doesn't get an answer. And then that last bit implies that he didn't relapse. He's just actively choosing to be lobotomized, because that's what that line about which would be worse, to live as a monster, to die as a good man.
Mm-hmm.
So he's making his choice.
Upon watching it a second time, it was interesting knowing exactly what the whole shtick was at the end. You know what I mean? The big old reveal, and just knowing
it's
that
a whole different
Kingsley,
movie the second time.
Yeah, and that Kingsley and Ruffalo are basically signaling to one another. It's like, did you fucking hear that? Did you hear that? It's like, yeah, I heard it. He's still fucking nuts.
The first time they wouldn't have heard it. He like it was Sheehan like checking on him, and then he gives them the like, all right, nah, it's a failure. But then at the last second, they don't hear him ask that question. He whispers it to Chuck Sheehan, and then as he's walking away, he's processing, and he's like, oh shit,
it's like,
he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kingsley said 2 or 3 times in the movie, not directly, but it implies that Andrew is actually a genius, Teddy's kind of an idiot, but
Yeah.
Andrew is actually a genius. And so he already worked all this out in his head. Like, Sheehan's there to give the go ahead or not if he's better. And
Boy.
and he can't live with his own guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So this is him saying, all right, I'm purposely going to let them lobotomize me. I'm turning to a fucking zombie. So technically it's the die as a good man thing.
Yeah.
But also he's not actually dead, but he might as well be because he's fucking lobotomized. Like, nothing's going on up there. So that was his choice in the end. And like Sheehan was like, wait, Teddy? That's why he calls him Teddy at the end, because it's like, wait, did you
hold up, bro.
turn back to Teddy?
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't answer him at all. So I was like, hey, I get it now. Okay, so I don't hate this movie anymore.
I'm glad that that's not the edgy take that I feel like I remembered feeling that the first time I watched the movie, but then being like, maybe they're not going there, because I was like much younger and I was like, I don't know, maybe that's not what they mean. But I read some more things about it a little bit later, and it's like, okay, that's not the edgy, like, how cool am I take. That's like happening in the movie.
So remember the names were anagram. Oh, that's the end of the movie, by the way. So remember the names were anagrams. Also, Shutter Island is an anagram for truths and lies.
Ooh.
Or truths/denials. I like truths and lies better, but
Was that a different movie?
that's True Lies.
Oh, sorry.
Get me to the chopper. That's not the same.
You're fired. He's flying the jet plane,
the Harrier.
The Harrier. So
God,
Harrier's a jet plane that hovers, and the terrorist or whatever he's chasing, spoiler alert, slides down the wing, and his jacket is hooked on a missile, and Arnold's like,
so we're doing another Arnold movie.
I was thinking about when to work that in, maybe next Father's Day. I don't know, but yeah, and he fires the missile with the
You're fired. I wanted to kill him, but I couldn't come up with a good one-liner. He had to live. Like, what? Are you being fucking serious? Yes. Why would I do that? I can't send a man off without a good one-liner.
They're rules. They're tropes. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo won his role because he sent a mail to Scorsese saying how much he'd love to work with him. He buttered him up.
Can I do that?
Is that easy?
He said, you wouldn't like me if I'm angry. You don't put me in this movie. You don't put me in this movie. It's gonna make me angry.
Dear Mr. Scorsese, I watched Shutter Island twice. I didn't fall asleep.
Dang.
It's like, holy shit, I need to introduce this dude to my wife. See? Good movie.
In my defense, it was a me thing, not a Shutter Island thing.
Oh no, that is that entire part of the movie. You're not wrong. There's like a lull. Things start to kind of slow down in a way that it's a little odd.
It happened in the same part.
There's so many movies that have that, though.
Yeah.
There's so many movies that it's just kind of like, this part's important, but it's not. But we're gonna leave it here. Hope for the best.
I legit didn't know I fell asleep until the third time I watched it, because I was like, damn. But yeah. So what's y'all's favorite aspect of the film?
I like the stringy-haired lady at the beginning of the movie that goes, shh.
I wanted more of her too.
I thought she was such
a huge part.
I thought she was gonna fall into like more. I thought there was gonna be more to do with her or something.
They put her in the movie just so they can put her in the trailer.
Absolutely. Yeah. She is the twister tire.
What about you, Karreem?
Honestly, I guess it's called the scenery, the place that added so much to this movie by itself.
If
like, just
you like that, you would love A Cure for Wellness, which is very similar to this movie. Them in like this like mental institution, and it's the dude who did it is the guy who did the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbeans, Gore Verbinski.
Oh, he has a good eye for background.
Visuals are really nice with him.
He does that constantly well.
Because the movie was lackluster to me, honestly. Where
That's fair.
the background scenery, it did it.
So you
It
just
just
bored, so you look at everything else in the
Karreem, like, damn, those are nice trees.
Well, no, because like the entrance to the island was nice, and then the part of the prison slash cells where the dangerous ones were, that I was like, oh, I couldn't do it. No. Mm-mm.
All right, I'm gonna add in favorite scene too if you got one. Just do aspect and scene.
Well, that was my favorite scene. Then the prison,
Ward C.
yeah, Ward C.
Okay.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene might have actually been with the Noise, because he was just spelling
Noise.
out the movie right in front of him, like, bro.
Yeah.
Even though he was potentially just as mentally unwell.
Yeah.
He was just like, bro, you dumb. He just said it out, like, listen.
Yeah.
But then they both fell into their own delusions for a little bit during the conversation.
Yeah.
Because he just fell out of Teddy for like a good minute, not thinking about it.
Yeah. Because he
And it
was
was
like,
like-
you need to let your wife go. And he's like, I can't.
Yeah, it was like, wait a minute, that's not right, Eddie. Or homeboy didn't have that's not why he's here at all, and you just steady letting it go. So that scene like kind of like showed like you're on your way in another direction. Keep your eyes open.
Ren, you still thinking?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's Martin Scorsese, and I already like horror, and I think period pieces are neat. Just everything about the whole like kind of MK Ultra lobotomies, just Project Paperclip, all the Red Scare, everything for the backdrop of this movie, and then everything how it portrayed between like the lighting and the storm and all that jazz. It was really cool spectacle to watch. There were just some stuff about the timing and the writing that kind of threw me. It felt like some parts were a little redundant, having the visions of his dead wife be 3 different women almost somehow or another, because Rachel Solando, which was supposed to be the woman he was finding, was actually a doctor in a vision that he had that kind of geared him up to go toward, it felt like it was getting a little lost in the weeds,
Yeah.
They needed to find a way to suggest that he had been drugged the entire time he was on the island because of any cigarettes or drinks or pills, that's why they needed Rachel Solando, the second version of her, but
I don't think he was
fun.
though. She says that they were drugging him.
And if he was super smart, he might have baked it in to his delusion. You know what I mean?
One thing though, like I read that he in the beginning, like he never lights his own cigarettes. He only lights other people's cigarettes. And then as the movie goes on, the 2 personalities are starting to get closer and closer. Then he starts to light his own cigarettes. But yeah, that's another thing. Like we don't know at the time, but she's not real. So like it makes sense about them fucking with his medicine. But then like when he brings it up with Kylie at the end, he was like, nah, those are withdrawals, not us messing with you, because you actually were taking, this thing for 2 years and now you're not taking anything and now you're shaking. But I understand what you're saying. Like it started, maybe that's why I fell asleep. I don't know. But it started to get too wacky at some point. And it's like, all right. But like for me, it's like it started to get there and then it ended. So
I mean,
I got you.
Acclaimed director made the movie, but I still feel like you could just come at the movie with an ice cream scoop and pull a few things out, and you have a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even if you
it
could
might
kind
be
of
Scorsese
reorder
just
a
likes
few
long
things.
movies.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got to make an epic movie.
Yeah.
What's his shortest movie?
I'd love to see a movie that was like a regular hour and 30, like a 90-minute Oscar-worthy film where people are like, what's going on? That was so tight and cohesive and flew right by. And it won an Oscar. Now I understand. You don't have to sit down for 4 hours to like understand a movie to understand that it's good. But
we could have easily cut the part with the warden.
I did.
That warden.
that was neat, but it was like it would have had more weight if he was in it before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like him just stare at you, just mean mug you.
Well, just have more of him.
Arg.
Have him be like an existential threat because he is like questioning the power of a marshal.
Then the movie would have been 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I'm just saying.
Well, just every scene where there's the cops, he's there and he's lurking. Have him meet him earlier. And
that
now,
was another tell in the movie, by the way, is whenever we see them searching, they're either like clearly not trying too hard or they're just standing around.
Yeah. It's like,
Another
we
one
gotta
was,
find her.
In the interviews scene, like there's guards behind the patient, there's a guard behind Teddy, but there's no guard behind Chuck. So real quick, I don't know if I should ask this or not, but favorite character, what character are you? This could go south.
Oh God.
Rachel Solando.
Which
exactly.
Favorite Rachel. Who am I? Rachel.
Kareem is Rachel Solando because he's an enigma.
Why I got to be Rachel?
Because you're a red dot.
I will take it. I will take it.
Favorite character is Chuck. Because the
Chuck
whole
was
time
fun.
he's like, what if we kick the hornet's nest? Have you thought maybe we do that? That seems like okay thing to do, right?
Also, on the second watch, like it's funny looking at Mark Ruffalo's eyes, knowing the twist in the second watch. You're watching him like it's this whole thing. Instead of him being like, "Oh, it's the great what's his name, Teddy Daniels or whatever," right? Just watching him work, like the Spider-Verse meme with Miles staring at Peter B. Parker. Now it's Mark Ruffalo staring at Leonardo DiCaprio watching him cook. But the first time, but now knowing that he's in on it, now he's just like, oh man, like he's just watching his mind work. Like, oh, this is wild.
Hey
right.
guys, what's going on? I'm Mark Ruffalo. Welcome to Punked. Today we're punking Leonardo DiCaprio. He thinks he's in a movie, but we snuck him into a mental institution.
Oh no!
Let's see what happens.
Oh no, we beat an inmate to death.
the inmate said he should stop dating 20-year-old girls.
Oh no!
No, I can't really think of I like Chuck, but I can't think of a character that is me.
It's okay. I didn't need to ask.
I'm possibly one of the black orderlies.
One of the black orderlies, just like
I'm one of the black orderlies. Like, man, they about to stab this dude in his neck,
bro.
He gonna stick a thing in his eye. I saw them do it one time. It was funny. It's not funny, but it's funny.
Ren, did you have any?
I don't think there's anybody. The movie is fine. The movie's not made for you to be like, I identify with.
That's why I said I don't know if I should ask this.
Yeah, I don't think it's set up for that.
How crazy are you?
Yeah, well, on a scale of BuzzFeed articles, I think the movie's characters are kind of intriguing in the purposes that they serve to kind of guide the viewer through whatever Teddy is experiencing. I just wish there was more order to it because I feel like you could just edit the movie and it'd feel more succinct.
See, stuff like this it's hard because it's the nature of the movie.
I know
lends itself to it.
Yeah.
So like even like with like goofs, right? Was it a goof or was it on purpose to like the water glass thing? So maybe I get what you're saying, and then I start thinking about it too much. And now I'm here. Yeah.
I'm trying to not grade it on something that it isn't, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it does what it did well. I don't have a favorite character. Thank God. Really like Andrew Lettuce with the staples on his face.
I like Andrew Lettuce.
I like lettuce.
I like Teddy Cabbage.
Yeah, no. Do I like the Nazi doctor?
No.
Who do I like? No. Everybody is like equally reprehensible.
The chick in the cave because she was
Racial
bold
too.
To go in that cave with them rats.
Dude. The rats weren't in the cave.
That's true. That's because she's so good. You know what I mean? She's got that.
The rats were like, nah, not in there,
dude. A spooky, patchy, bald lady in the beginning.
Yeah,
that's my favorite character.
All right.
See, they could have used her the whole freaking movie. Like
that would have made the movie a lot more interesting.
Trailer bait.
Yeah. So that she's a real one.
All right. So on my first rewatch, which is my second watch, I noticed that the guards were on edge in the rival scene because I know that they know that Teddy is a patient and they're not down with this shit, but they gotta go with it anyway.
It's a paycheck.
So I did want to point out. I didn't want to finish this episode without pointing out my two favorite lines. One was when the deputy warden, they were talking about like Rachel escaping and her probabilities of surviving out there and whatnot, and he was like, he said 1,000 plants with thorns as big as my dick, and the way Teddy and Chuck looked at him was like. Like he said it with a straight face, and the two of them looked
we're about to have
what?
a real day.
Like, that's what we're on today.
Today's gonna be rough.
I wish I could have been a fly on the wall on the first take, cause I wonder if they knew what he was gonna say. Cause like the way that their heads snapped and they looked at him like, bro. It's like Scorsese was like, "Hey, say this line." So you, that's kind of in. So just say it. Just say it. It's gonna.
I have to wonder if it was like you
next.
can ad lib if you want. Can I? Yeah. You need just say just say something vague that
just go with it.
Give him a picture of it.
Just
That
fill
was
it
the
out.
funniest line in the movie.
Are they small thorns or are they large?
Large thorns? Like what's going on here? And then the second one was, "You blew up my car. I really love that car."
Come on, man.
But yeah, that's stupid. That's funny. Also, the score. Going back to the score. Not the epic part in the beginning, but anytime he had like the flashback with his wife, that instrumental that played, that that is so. I wonder if it's like free because it's so overused, or at least maybe I just watched too much shit. But the first time it was used in a feature film was Stranger Than Fiction. It's On the Nature of Daylight by Max Richter. Stranger Than Fiction in 2007, right? And then after Shutter Island, I saw it in, or I heard it in Jiro Dreams of Sushi. It was in a Black Mirror episode, a movie called Disconnect, Arrival with the aliens, and I think it was in an episode of Last of Us too. Like, there's other places I've heard it too, and I just couldn't find like the whole list. Because I was like, no, I've definitely seen it in a couple of A24 movies and whatnot. I wonder if we could use it for our podcast, because it has to be free if that many movies are using it, right? Anyway.
Hey.
So, final thoughts and ratings.
Karreem?
Oh, I'm first. Okay. All right. I mean, it was okay. It was just okay. Nothing groundbreaking about it.
Was this your first time seeing it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Dang, I wish I knew that going in. So, with the reveal, how'd you feel?
I guess I didn't guess that was the big reveal, and until they said it, I knew something was up. Where either he was being drugged or something was going on. The mini wives confused me a few times because I was like, wait, which one is this? Who is this? Why is she here? What is going on? Do I not know how to tell the difference between white people?
Look, I told you straight up. This was Michelle Williams. I thought it was Carey Mulligan. Man, it was anyway. Look,
but no, it's I like Leo. I like his stuff. I feel like he did a great job for a mediocre movie.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, this is one of his. I think early. I want to say earlier. Well,
it's not early. He been acting since he was
mid.
10.
I guess it was 10 in. Oh, he should have accents figured out by then. Okay, never mind. never mind.
Damn.
But no, it was all right. It was okay.
Yeah. All right, Ren.
Yeah. I don't want to say that I'm going to mimic like critics. I think that there's a lot of things that are going on for it that I really like. It just felt like the payoff for the writing wasn't exactly where I would have wanted it to be. I'm fine with the audience score of like 70% Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I think it might have been a little higher than that. But it gets a lot just because of the setting and the costuming and the score, and there's so much craft that went into the filmmaking part that I'm like, okay, this is really cool. I'm totally down for this whole fucking thing. I watched the whole movie twice. You know what I mean? I might even like buy this. You know, I think it was a decent movie. Was it a great, incredible movie? But yeah, I'm okay with giving like a 7.5. I think it's totally worth a watch, especially if you like those things. Like,
all right. Tim?
My whole bit is that I pick whether or not I would recommend the movie to just a person, just in general. No numbers or color ratings or nothing like that. It's one of those things where I'd probably be like, oh, you've never seen that movie? Are you into kind of like Scorsese and things? It's probably worth a watch, but it's not something I would tell someone definitely go and see this.
Yeah.
I don't think I would tell a casual person to like check it out. I'd probably, and maybe this is negative, I would tell someone to watch it to see certain tropes in action more so than I'd say I think you'll like the movie.
Spoiler alert, unreliable narrator, watch Shutter Island.
Yeah, like I like that. It's like, if you want to see a movie where a twist almost works wrong,
yeah. It sounded like Scorsese watched like a bunch of M. Night movies, and he's like, you know what? I could do a twist. Watch this. Watch this. You thought that was a twist? Wrong. This is the twist. Wrong. This is the twist. Wrong. This is the. It's like, God damn it.
This chubby checker in the corner. Don't even look at him. Don't even look at him.
This feels like when he chose to do this movie, everybody else who was like a part of it heard this was like a Scorsese movie and went in on the set, music, costumes. Like, okay, we're all getting an award for this, until they read the script. It was like,
They remember the plan was awards all around, and then Paramount didn't have enough money.
So we can do this. We can't do this.
Broke boy Paramount. Anyway.
Wow.
No, but if going back to what you say, Ren, twist after twist. Watch Trance. It's Danny Boyle.
Okay.
Anyway, and I'll leave it at that without giving you too much information. So for me, hated the movie before, watched it twice today. I dig it. I dig it now. I'm going easier than I used to on the unreliable narrator, specifically in mystery settings, because I feel like it's cheating. But watching the movie again, I see that they give you enough clues and give you enough doubt, pretty obviously, for me to say that it's not cheating in this time.
Yeah.
And I kind of dug it, and I like watching it the second time, knowing what happens. It's a whole different watch, and I appreciated the whole dichotomy of it, and like that's kind of neat. Like on the second watch, it's a different movie, and then on the third watch, you realize you fell asleep in the first two watches. Sorry, my bad.
It's that third watch it.
I'm gonna definitely give it a 7, which is a good movie. I'll bump it up to 7.5. I think it's a really good movie. Not a great movie, but 7.5. Yeah.
All right, Casey, 7.5.
Anything left y'all want to say?
I feel bad about that car too.
Poor car. I really love that car. On that note, plugs. Karreem, you go first because we already know your answer.
I don't have it.
Oh. All right, that's fine. Incognito, we like it. Ren?
Same thing. Basically, just we're Power Bummer. You can find us anywhere. We have an Etsy store. We're still selling some stuff here and there. Apparently, it was like Prostate Awareness Month, so we saw a rise in the sale of our stickers about the ball sack stickers.
Ball sack stickers.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, people are like buying these because I keep saying Power Bummer on the podcast, or what is the coincidence? And it's like, oh, it's Prostate Awareness Month.
Yo, man, shout out Quebec for buying 18 prostate.
Hey, we appreciate you. We're here to serve you.
Don't forget, check out them balls.
Yeah, don't test teas. Test these.
Tim?
Currently, same old thing, but I'm trying to do more Twitch content. So DD Sluggers at Twitch, DD Sluggers at YouTube, hopefully a little bit here. Got a Patreon, and for whatever reason, I have, in addition to doing this podcast, I have been convinced to eventually start a car content channel. I don't even know what it's called yet. It's going to be weird.
Work. Like, isn't there a few out there where literally just the people send them money so that they can watch them fix the car with the money they send them?
There is a creator that he literally has a car my father has in a garage, and his Patreon and YouTube videos are paying for him to restore this one car. I don't know that I'm going to get that far, but you might hear some funnier things about anime and cars than you should. Yeah, hit me up on the internet.
All right,
Meaty
and
suckers.
remember to subscribe, like, share, yell at us online. You can interact with us on Threads and Blue Sky at SGBK Podcast. If you don't have social media, email us at sgbkpodcast@gmail.com. That's all we got. Bye.
Thanks.
Take care, y'all.
I'm a goddamn U.S. Marshal.